Hello and welcome to the Super Important Show. I am one of your hosts, Destiny Adato. Welcome on tonight's show. We're not trying to kink shame here, but frogs need to stop knocking boots with things that aren't frogs. Plus, science makes angry, bully hamsters. We're pretty sure that's how the tiny animal revolution begins. And finally, what was New York City named before it was named New York City? And they may be Giants fans. It's not what you're thinking it is. It's something totally different. So stop rolling your eyes at me. Again, I am Destiny Adato. I am one of your hosts, but I have two other amazing hosts with me, and I want to introduce them to you. So first up, let me introduce, she's sugar and spice and everything nice. It's Heather Jules Booth. How are you doing, Heather Jules Booth?
I'm okay. How's everybody?
We are good. And second, our special guest for the evening, former winner of How Should I Know, making her one of the smartest people making her the smartest person on the internet for that period of time, and currently one of the funniest people on the internet. It's Chris Bouknight. How you doing, Chris Bouknight?
I'm so well. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm ready to get super important.
You're always super important. You're always super important. Please tell folks about you. What's your story?
Sure. So I'm from South Carolina originally, and now I live in Astoria, and I do improv through Magnet and the Armory. I work in education. That's me.
Nice. Well, welcome. We love having you. Let's get right into this thing. Let's do it as soon as I figure out all the buttons I need to hit. Heather, you want to kick us off for World You Crazy?
Absolutely. Yeah, here we go, everybody. We have World You Crazy. As always, things that are crazy in the world. And this week we have an article from The Atlantic. So you know it's like serious stuff because it's not from like WebMD.
Like actual journalism.
Yeah, it's actual journalism. And this article is called Frogs Keep Mating with the Wrong Things. And the byline is, could humans be to blame? Which I think is hilarious. Story is from May, so it's from a month ago. And it talks about someone who was hiking through the mountains of Brazil when a yellow toad affixed to his boot. He says he gently detached the frog and set it back on the ground, but the frog bounded right back over and wrapped its arm around his shoe again. It says that he seems to have taken his footwear as a potential mate and kept trying to go back and mate with that shoe. It says in the months that followed, researchers in Brazil could not stop thinking about it, which is hilarious. They were like, I don't get it. It says that they are wondering if this toad's stubbornness, we'll just call it, was because it is attempting to navigate a fractured world. And they said that they are calling this an evolutionary trap, where the environment changes and animals begin making mistakes. They don't realize that, that's not another frog, which is actually kind of sad. They said that they have done research and found frogs have tried to get it on with other things that they can't fertilize, including other dead frogs, incompatible other species of frogs, frog embryos, coconuts, mangoes, apples, geckos, turtles, fish, slugs, rulers, and plastic cups. So the frogs they're trying a lot of things. The scientists say that they're not quite sure, they understand that it might be this misdirected thing, but they're not sure exactly why. It does say that, and I'm going to just read this quote as it is. So get ready for hearing about how frogs behave, which is, males will just go for anything they can get their hands on. It says that they love to position themselves in the right place at the right time so that when the mates drop their eggs, they can both ward off other suitors and immediately fertilize the eggs. One scientist calls it, and again, I really hate this, clasp first, ask questions later strategy. really unfortunate.
So frogs are bad people, is what you're saying.
Frogs are not getting consent. They are definitely not a species that is getting consent. They are an ask. What is it? Do now, forgive later. Well, I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Ask forgiveness. It's not okay.
Right. So,
In the human sense, if we're anthropomorphizing and putting it into the human sense of it, not okay.
Right. So I mean, this is going to sound harsh. What I'm about to say, it's going to sound harsh.
Yeah.
But if frogs are basically giant sexual harassment monsters,
nightmares.
And they're not capable of going like, hey, that's another frog. Like, are we just good then? Like, do we need frogs? Like, what do frogs do? Like, couldn't we just say like, hey, that sucks, but we're not gonna set up Tinder dates for you just because like you can't figure out like what another frog is. Like, I feel like that's one thing that all animals know is what another one of them is. Like, right?
Don't they eat flies? Or is that just a stereotype?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Chris, do you know?
It does say that.
I feel like we eat flies. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because I think in general, like if you have a pool and then you've got frogs in the pool, it helps like keep like the insect population down because they'll eat the insects.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody in chat likes frogs, let us know, or if they hate frogs, or if you've been sexually harassed by a frog, please let us know.
Yeah.
So we want to know.
If you need a lawyer,
yeah.
let us know.
Yeah.
None of us are lawyers, but we will do our best to help you.
So do they think that the frogs are just gonna like? I'm assuming that's negatively impacting the frog population.
Yes, exactly, because it said that they are quote unquote basically shooting too many shots that aren't taking because they're mating with shoes. So eventually they could in fact start to die out because they're not, propagating the species in the way that they need to. Yeah. And then it's like, this is probably because humans have caused the environment to get wonky, which is like, oh, yeah, great.
Suji saying, I think they're really cute, but this is this is kind of disturbing.
I agree, Suji. I agree.
Yeah. I have a different view of frogs now than I did before, is all I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah. How could you not?
Frogs be horny. They just
What was that?
It's not just toads, it's frogs too.
Yeah, they're just
horny little frogs.
Yeah, but like at least like I don't know, like hump the right thing is all I'm saying. If you're gonna like, or maybe it's better, maybe because at least they're like sexually harassing shoes instead of other frogs. So maybe like I don't know.
Dead frogs. Yeah.
Exactly, the dead frogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Do we have anything else on this, or do we want to move on to Chris's equally as weird story?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, so this is not going to come, I think, as a surprise to anyone because this was not created until after the cake. We're talking about poo-shaped pudding, everyone. Mm-hmm. In Japan, it's I think of it when you think of like an easy bake oven, or like you get like a kid's icy machine. So it's the product that's geared at children, and it allows them to just mix the powder and the milk or the water, and they basically are forming pudding in the shape of poop. Dustin, if you want to hit that image and give our viewers,
yeah, of course.
A look. I also love this image because they don't actually look like they're very pleased with this. On the left, she looks kind of horrified. So this too could be your face when you sit down to some poo pudding. But they are only selling poo pudding recently. They started selling in May because they were so successful with their poo-shaped cake. So there's a little cake bowl of poo cake, which seems like it'd be a real bitch to ice. To that, but.
I also have the picture of the example of the actual pudding. Do we want to see the?
Of course. That just looks like a baking accident.
Mm-hmm. So in the article, there are suggestions. I know that some of us are saying, Chris, what about me? I'm not a chef. That's okay. You can do things like if you want spinach poo, you could add some matcha to it. Or if you want to add some nuts to represent corn, like there's lots of different ways to sort of amplify your poop so that it feels special and unique.
I believe that is Lynette saying, I rebuke this. Yes, no, that's fair. That's a fair take on the story.
Yeah.
But it's Japan. Japan's got to do these things. Japan has a reputation to uphold, and part of its reputation is something insane like this. They can't not do it.
I've been Christmas shopping for my nephew, and I mean, even like in like local stores around here, like there's a real poop market with the children. Mm-hmm. Like there's like little games where like you have to like toss poop into the toilet bowl, or like games where like the like little corgis and like the poop comes out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it is poop is the universal language.
Yeah, we have a friend named Allie who works in toys. And I remember her saying that like poop-based toys sell phenomenally well.
That's right.
Like, little kids love poop-based things. So
that's right. We worked an event with her once, and there was like a fart gun. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
It was just literally like a gun that spat out air that smelled like farts. And I remember I was like, "What? Why is this a okay?"
Oh, I didn't realize they added the smell to it. I just figured it was like a noise thing because.
No, it smelled like farts.
Why?
It was pretty horrifying.
Why?
Same people were making poop cupcakes. Ask them.
But like, it's one thing to go with the shape, like if you're gonna, let's say you're gonna make poop pudding, but she's pointing out there are toilet themed restaurants.
That's so interesting to me.
It's one thing to have something that's shaped like poop, mm-hmm. but you don't want it to taste and/or smell like poop, because that feels like really the huge downside of it. Not that the shape of poop is a huge upside, but I would think that like farting, like the smell is the bad part of the fart. The sound is like the funny part. I would see where you would have a gun that would sound like a fart. You go ha ha, but then like once you,
how funny was that, right? And then you're like, oh,
right.
Yeah.
But once you throw in the smell, then it's like, oh, well, now you're punishing everybody.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Yeah. So are you guys gonna I assume that you guys are not gonna order the pudding poop model?
No.
I'm just really bad at cooking. I feel like it would just, end up being like a runny stool, and it wouldn't firm up the way I wanted it to.
I mean, does pudding hold its shape that well to begin with? I feel like pudding usually takes on the shape of its container. So like once you drop it out of the mold, aren't you essentially like, yeah, it's just gonna become pudding? It feels like. Wish you like super freeze it. But Japan's got to do what Japan's got to do.
Gotta do Japan.
Shame. Anything else on this story? All right. Well, hearing none, then we will move on to my story. Okay. So, in movies where the zombie apocalypse comes and people go like, how did that happen? I think we're in phase 1 of that. So here's what scientists tried to do. They took hamsters, a notoriously like pretty docile creature. It's scientists at Georgia State University. And they said, hey, there is this... there's this like hormone in hamsters that can kind of make them aggressive. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that CRISPR technology where you can shut like something down. And they said, we're going to take the thing that makes them aggressive like out. And we do that, it should make for a hamster that's like the super coolest. Like a hamster that's just like chill and loves everybody and is giving hugs all over the place. But it didn't. It had the exact opposite effect. It made like really angry hamsters that would like bully each other, and especially like same-sex hamsters. Like there was like a very like, like I don't know if it was a jealousy or an anger or whatever, but like they would bully each other and get really mad at each other, all by taking out like the thing that's supposed to like make them less aggressive. And scientists were like, oh, it's weird. And I feel like that's the type of thing where a hamster gets out and then all of a sudden hamsters become like the enemy of the people. Like that's the sort of thing where like you do that. That's why they say don't do genetic alterations, because you don't know what's going to happen, because you don't understand how things work. They did it. They discovered it was bad. I'm assuming they killed the hamsters, but probably not, because like...
No, probably.
You think?
I'm going to say probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now they're going back to the drawing board and figuring like, okay, well, maybe this, this hormone does other things. And it's like, yeah, they all do. Like nothing is just like a one kind of thing. So point is, I think the hamsters are going to attack. And I think we need to be prepared for the fact that if one of those hamsters gets out, then they will instantly sort of like beat up all the other hamsters and become the dominant species, at least in the hamster community, which admittedly is pretty low on the evolutionary, whatever you want to call it, but it could be dangerous. That's all I'm saying.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Anybody ever have a hamster?
Mm-mm.
So, okay.
No, the only thing I can think of is like the little smell of the hamster like shavings.
Yeah.
It's like I went to friends' houses that had them, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I think in the last episode I talked about how I accidentally let my sister's hamster out.
Yes.
So, so we had one in the house, and I accidentally I also saw one of them get killed. One of those like, those like little puppet houses. Where not puppet house, that's the wrong way of saying it. Like that little theater
Doll
thing.
Houses?
No, it's like that thing where like if you want to do like a little marionette or like a little puppet show, it's like a big piece of wood that like
yes, I do.
You hide
behind.
behind.
And I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah, that's why I said puppet house, but I know that's wrong. My sister and her friend were playing, and like that thing fell on the hamster, and the hamster like freaked out and got brain damage and ran around and then died.
That's awful, Dustin. Why did you have to share that?
I don't know, because we're talking about hamsters, and,
I know,
and that's the only
but
hamster thing I know. I already
it's
talked
sad.
about the other hamster that escaped.
They're coming back for you.
Yeah.
You think that they escaped?
Right. Now that I know that they're like furious at the world, then I'm like super nervous about it. Cool. Do we want to move on to our what the fact?
I think so.
Okay. Let me figure out all the graphics I need to do in order to make all that happen. All right. Here we go. Okay, so for those of you unfamiliar with the segment, which is probably not a lot of you because I know everybody in chat, I will come up with questions. I will ask you guys what you think the answer is. Chat, I love it when you play along, so please try and guess the answers as well. We have some, these are, I would argue normally I try and go with very silly things. These are actually like, that's interesting kind of stuff. So we'll see where it goes. First up, what name did New York City briefly have before it became fully New York City for like the last time? And I know everybody's gonna say, as I mentioned before, they might be giants. New York City was once New York was once New Amsterdam. It's not that. So I'm gonna give you three choices, one of which is correct. Was New York City once Newer York? Was it once New Orange? Or was it once Yorkie? And Chris, I'm gonna come to you first. Which was formerly the name of New York?
I think it's Newer York.
Okay.
I don't know. It just kind of gives me those same vibes as like Charleston being Charlestown and things like that. Like it seems, I don't know, it feels kind of lazy. Like there's York. This one is Newer. I'm going to go with A. Okay.
What about you, Heather?
I was leaning towards it being B, New Orange.
Okay.
I think, because isn't there now like there's parts of it that are called like West Orange and stuff?
I think that's Jersey.
Jersey, yeah.
Yeah, that's Orange County.
Well, I'm still gonna stick with new.
Okay.
With it being New Orange, and that maybe that's why in New Jersey they were like, well, we couldn't get New York named New Orange. Well, I'll go and name it New Jersey.
Okay. And chat's backing you up. Joy saying that. Suji's saying that as well. So you got a lot of support from chat.
Okay.
And that's good because the answer is in fact New Orange. After William III of Orange, it was the Dutch had briefly taken New York, and for a small period of time they decided that calling it New Orange made a lot of sense. Which I'm kind of surprised that then we didn't just become the Big Orange, because we were at least at one point called Orange. but we didn't.
With the big orange.
Yeah, it became the Big Apple, even though
all the accents.
Yeah.
How did I forget about William III of Orange?
Right,
Oh.
right. I know. You're kicking yourself.
New Orange.
So, question number 2. Obviously, running is hard. I think we can all agree that that's why I don't do it. But at what point does jogging officially become running? Does it become running when you swing your arms while you're moving? Does that differentiate it? Is it when your heart rate reaches 150 beats per minute? Or is it when you go faster than 6 miles an hour? Heather, I'll go to you first.
I feel like it can't be A because in theory you're supposed to swing your arms no matter what. Like naturally, that's like a thing that's naturally supposed to happen.
Okay.
And I feel like C, that's a lot of miles. Like that's a lot. So I'm gonna go with B. Okay. Although I would argue that I feel like I'm running when mine hits about 140. So 150 is when I'm just like, I'm gonna die. Help. But you're going. So I'm gonna go with B.
Okay. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm also thinking B. Although my heart rate never reaches 150 beats per minute because I never run. But after a really good buffet, it probably gets pretty high. So that's my guess.
Okay. Chad's going against you guys.
Got 2 for C and 1 for B.
Yep. So
none for A.
None for A, which is probably good because that is not the answer. The actual answer is in fact C. It's when you go over 6 miles an hour.
So many miles.
Right. So most of the time, I think people think that they were running, but they're not. They're jogging.
Wow. Yes, I definitely have done some workouts that I classified as runs that are 100% not runs.
Yep. Yeah. Chris, you were going to say something? I feel like I accidentally cut you off.
No. I just said that's 6 miles too many is all.
Right.
Is all I said. Yeah.
Last question.
That's so many miles.
When the first phone book was published in 1878, how many names did it have in it? Was it 138? Was it 50? Or was it 3,000? At what point did they decide, hey, we probably need a phone book. Let's make one. Let's send it out. Heather, I will come to you first.
I'll go with 3,000 because
okay.
I feel like A and B are too small. Mm-hmm. And I know that probably the first phone book didn't have the amount of numbers in it that we'd expect it to have nowadays. But I feel like 3,000 in 1878 is a pretty big amount.
Okay.
And that's a pretty and considering that the population was still pretty big, but not huge, that was probably a lot of people that had a phone.
Okay. Cool.
But maybe it's less people had a phone since 1878. I'm gonna stick with it, but I could see it. Yeah.
Okay. Chris, what do you think?
I guess I'm thinking how much territory did this phone book cover? Was it, just a town but just to increase the odds that one of us is correct, mm-hmm. I will say A, 138.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Joy is going with you as well. As is Suji. Joy is asking the question, where did the first phone book actually cover? Was it all of the U.S. or just the New York area? It was all the people who had a phone at that time. So our answers that you guys submitted were 138. Some folks said 138, and Heather, you said 3,000. The actual answer is 50. Wow. Not only should it just have 50, it didn't even include any numbers because at that point it would all just went to a switchboard, and then somebody would just patch you into the person. I have a very almost impossible to read copy of it. Let me. It's just like a list of names. That was the phone book. It had a front page and it had that.
New Haven Flower Company. It was very important you get in touch with them.
So by 2 years later, it had gotten up to the 3,000 people kind of thing. But the first time, I don't know why they felt they need to even publish it at that point.
Yeah, like, why do you need this? This is an interesting mix of people that you need to get in touch with.
Right.
Once again, the New Haven Flower Company.
I appreciate Joy's comment. Oh, so you just pick up the phone and say, "Let me talk to Steve." Yes, essentially.
That's so interesting.
That's what you did back then. Is you said, "Hey, where's Steve?"
Office open from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah. Right. That's what I was looking at too. Like,
wow, 6 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 hours you could not get in touch with the flower company.
Yep.
I love that they were getting down until 2 a.m. though.
Yeah.
I mean, how thrilled were they when the phone rang at like 1:30? Like, it was all worth it. Like, it was all like, I'm so glad we stayed. So that's
wow, that's so interesting. Like, thinking about, imagine being the first people like that were on a switchboard, that were dealing with that were figuring it all out kind of for the first time. Like, right, like stuff like that. Someone called at 1:30 and you were like, I guess we have to be open.
Yeah.
So interesting.
For these 50 friggin' people, so that they could maybe call each other.
Yeah.
But it got bigger. But the first one was only 50. Cool. So that's our What the Fact for today, which brings us to our Would You Rathers. We're cooking, people. We're just moving through our topics.
We are actually.
I don't know that we ever gotten this fast. All right. So Heather, why don't you kick us off with Would You Rather?
Hold on. Yes. Here we go. Would you rather? Okay. So would you rather have to use a litter box in your home, aka the thing that cats go to the bathroom in, or would you, I'm going to interpret it as this, only be able to go to the bathroom outside your home? Now, I do want to specify, Dustin, when you say that, do you mean on the ground, or you just mean like a porta potty? It's just meaning like you can't use the bathroom at home. You mean
I mean, it's your question, so I'll let you pick. You pick what the rule is. What do you want it to be?
I'm going to go with that. It means you can only use like public toilets, places outside your home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that being said, Chris, as the guest, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I feel like I already go outdoors a good bit. I'm very like, whatever, let's pop a squat. But the thing is, I'm also inherently lazy. So that means if I wanted to use the restroom, I now have to leave my home. No, I'm going to go in a litter box for sure.
Okay.
My cat agrees with you.
Nice. Cool.
All right, Dustin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm with Chris on this, like, because just thinking about like, going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I'm never going to want to have to go more than like a few feet. So as much as I will not want to poop in a litter box, I think litter box is the better option. I do not like away games. Joy and I were talking about it the other day. Like, half of the reason we want teleportation is so that we can teleport home when we have to go to the bathroom and never have to do that.
That's
ever.
A great idea, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that like every time. So
yeah.
Yes, I'm a litter box person myself, which is not a statement I thought I would say.
No, right? Who would?
Yeah.
I agree. I'm highlighting Joy. I love calling it away games. What a great name for that. I'm making it 3 for 3 because I also would pick the litter box. Listen, I don't want to shit where my cats shit or pee where my cats pee, but I see 2 advantages over the only being able to go outdoors. Biggest one is exactly what you both just said. Middle of the night, you have to go to the bathroom. God, hell no, I don't want to get up and have to like go out and leave my home and find a place. And to speak nothing of safety and just inconvenience and like, absolutely not. The other thing is like, what if you need to hop in the shower after you use the bathroom? You can easily do that if you use a litter box. You just scoop it up, get rid of it, and shower. If you're outdoors and you're like, I could really use a shower, oh well, you're not gonna stick your ass in a sink, you know? What are you gonna do?
Plus, if you're at home, you could, like, before you use the litter box, go to your fridge, grab one of your poop puddings, and then enjoy your poop puddings.
Exactly. It's just, it works.
In your litter box, yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Suji, can you imagine Suji pointing at the cat will be so annoyed. I can see the expression. I would never actually do this, but it would be hilarious to see what would your cat do if you just like got in the litter box and stared at it. I feel like they would come running over and just be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah.
I wonder if they would like try and scratch you in places that you don't want to be scratched.
I don't think so, but I think you would definitely get some prolonged eye contact.
Okay.
For sure.
Which is generally not something I want when going to the bathroom anyway. I'm anti-eye contact when going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Definitely not from an animal.
Don't ever have. I know you wouldn't already, but don't ever have cats, because some cats will make eye contact with you.
I don't like it.
As if to say, here's what I'm doing. It's very funny.
I mean, we used to have a dog that would always want to go into the bathroom. Not Joy and I, but like when I was a kid, we had a dog that would always want to go in the bathroom, and I had a very strict, like, no, fuck away. I don't need company. I got it.
To answer Joy, yes, that was Rufus, and Rufus was clearly putting his thoughts in. And knowing Rufus's meows, that was Rufus saying, "Don't you dare get in my litter box." That was 100% the meow of absolutely not.
Okay, well, I think you should try it between now and the next show and let us know how it went.
I think I'm okay.
All right. If you don't,
I love science, but I don't think I love it that much.
Okay, well, think about it. Bounce it around. See. Let us know how it goes. Chris, do you want to? We got all our answers. We all answered. I think chat. It seemed like chat
is
in the litter box.
On litter box. Yeah.
Okay.
Chat was all with us, so that is the clear winner.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. We as a group all agree we do not like leaving our homes to go to the bathroom.
Yep. Although Chris seems to be far more cool with it than the rest of us.
Listen, do what you gotta do, and if you gotta do, then you do it. You know.
Before we're gonna go to Chris' question next, but before we do, because I always forget to mention this, please like and subscribe if you can. It helps us a ton if we get likes and throw in some comments too, or whatever. It always helps the algorithm so that people know that you guys enjoy the content. So if you can like and subscribe, that would be wonderful. We would super crazy appreciate it. Chris, let's go to you for your would you rather.
Great. So my would you rather lose your non-dominant hand or have baby hands? Little baby hands. Heather, what are your thoughts?
I think I know a clear-cut answer to this, but I kind of have to wonder one thing. Could I get assistance, like the use of a prosthetic, once I've lost the non-dominant hand? Or is it sort of like, that's it, one hand forever?
I mean, Chris, it's your question, so you...
I think you can use whatever resources are available to you.
Okay. I was still leaning towards this one, but that would extra make me go with lose non-dominant hand, but I already was kind of leaning towards that. I just think it would be much less frustrating to have just one good big hand than two baby hands. I feel like two baby hands would be constantly frustrating, of like you're always trying to do stuff and you're just like little baby hands and nothing gets done. You can't do anything. You can't accomplish anything. Whereas if you have one hand, and especially your dominant hand, you can probably still do a decent amount of things. Yeah. Joy making a great point here.
Yeah.
Are the baby hands as strong as adult hands?
I don't think so. I think they're about as strong as baby hands can be, right?
Baby hands, yeah.
Seem like you can only get so many muscles into a baby hand. So you're going with with single hand. Okay.
I'll go with losing the non-dominant hand.
Okay. Cool. I would go with baby hands, and I think partially because Joy's going with single hand. Partially because of like tying your shoelaces or anything like that like requires you to do one thing and something else. Kind of like having both hands, it makes such a difference. It would suck to like constantly like to basically not be able to lift anything meaningful ever, but I think like most of the time you're not picking up heavy things, so like you could still type with baby hands, you could still, you know, like you can still do most of the stuff that you're doing with baby hands. So like even if you were just like just think about like your cell phone, like if you're holding your cell phone with one hand, you can't text message with the other, but if like you could still probably hold your cell phone with a baby hand. So I feel like just the ability to have like the two different like things that two different things that can touch things makes it so that the baby hand one wins. What about you, Chris?
The first thing I thought of was if I had little baby hands, then maybe I could do a better job like doing my eye makeup, like really getting in there, getting that eyeliner looking good. And when you said, Dustin, that it would suck not being able to like lift things because you had little baby hands, my brain went, oh my gosh, I will never have to do any of the heavy lifting ever again. Because I'll be like, oh, I can't with my little baby hands. And then they'll be like, you're such a baby. And I'll be like, I know. Look at my little baby hands. So my mind is expanding on the subject. So I think I will also go with the baby hands.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Did we put up Lynette's comment of
yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
We did. Yep.
Yeah, it's a tough one because you want to be able to like have strength, but like because I was thinking like I don't think because I drink a lot of Coke and I couldn't get in 2 liters anymore because I wouldn't be able to like pick up a 2-liter bottle when it's full. I'd have to only get cans, and I would probably have to have Joy come over to open the lid. But I think it's still worth it. It's not in that direction I would go. It'd be weird and creepy, but I think I would do it.
Think of all the money you would save on nail polish. I mean, that's
all the money I would save. You're right. That's a good
point. Probably. Yeah.
All right, let's get to our third question. Our third question is, and I feel like the word I'm going to use is not the politically correct word, but it's the word I copied from somebody else, so blame them. I don't know what the right word for this is, but if you had the choice, would you rather be a kung fu fighter or a sniper? Let's assume for a moment that like in both cases you are fighting just evil people. So it's not just like I want to be a sniper because I want to shoot people, but like you're defending. In both cases, you're like defending people. Like you're a hero of some kind. So like whatever negative would be associated with with either of these professions is sort of negated by the fact that like you're doing generally good. Chris, I'll go to you first.
Definitely I would want to be a fighter because I feel like that would keep me like strong and like I'd have to be physically fit. And I could like, slap the shit out of people with my baby hands. I think that, as a sniper, like we still see like in like, media, film and television that like a sniper could just be, anyone that's trained with the weapon. But I think for the kung fu fighter, you're training your body, which is really cool. And I think like something about that feels impressive to me. Okay.
But you do put yourself in more danger because you're like up in it, right? Like,
I live for danger.
All right.
That's not true. I don't live for danger.
What about you, Heather?
I think I would also go with a fighter because I think it feels more, I don't know. I just feel like it's more useful. Like you can fight with everything, and I agree. Like you're super strong and you can fight with all different And I feel like that makes me think like your reflexes are going to be really good. I'm sure as a sniper, your reflexes are also good. They would have to be. But I just feel like I prefer the option of like someone tries to come up behind you and you're just like, ah, 'cause that's how I fight.
Yeah.
But that I like that option better. I feel like that has a lot more potential for like you keeping yourself safe and you, as Chris said, like beating the crap out of people. Whereas a sniper is like, it's cool, but it's only a certain, like, you gotta hide in a bush and like, yeah.
You're always on a roof.
Right. You're always some weird location that's like far away. You gotta like be watching. Yeah. I just want to punch.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I was in a similar, like, I've been debating this one back and forth like a bunch because if you're a sniper, you're essentially like not in danger because you are so far away that like for the most part, unless like whoever you're sniping like finds you, you're pretty much like out of harm's way. So like your chances of getting out of any particular fight are significantly more than what is essentially like the on the ground frontline soldier. That being said, in my life, the Kung Fu Fighter part would probably be more useful, like you guys were saying, like knowing that like if somebody comes at you at any time, you can defend yourself just feels like a thing that like would fill you with a certain level of confidence. Because if somebody came at you and you were a sniper, you'd be like, hey, stay here, I'm gonna go far away and get a weapon, and then we're gonna have words, except not words, but you know what I mean. I think like in terms of like making your everyday life better, probably Kung Fu Fighter makes sense. In terms of like survival, probably Sniper makes sense. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Kung Fu Fighter, even though I'm at like a 51-49 on this. It seems like you guys were like more like 100-0 or 90-10, but
95-5, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm 51-49, but I guess I gotta go with Kung Fu Fighter, especially like I went down one of those holes where I watched like a bunch of like Bruce Lee things, and it was just like, oh my god, this guy was like the most insane. I don't know how much of it is just like mythology, but it just seems like he was like the most badass fighter that's ever been a fighter.
Well, they made a good, they were in the chat, they brought up the song. I mean, there's no, can you name one like super fun, everyone knows sniping song?
No.
I can't.
No.
That is an excellent point.
Yeah. No catchy sniper songs.
I think that about does it for our show, guys. I think we had a ton of fun. We got through everything. Chris, what's going on? Where can people see more of what you have happening?
Just come over to my apartment.
Okay.
The Armory just finished their season. Magnet season is currently done. So I'm just gonna, do my thing until things start back up. The Armory will probably be starting back up in late June, early July. And but besides that, I'm just gonna be chilling.
Okay, cool.
I do.
How about you, Heather? What do you got coming up?
Saturday, we're doing Shot for Shot Jurassic Park at Shillelagh.
Nice.
I'm playing the guy that gets eaten off the toilet, so I feel like I'm now going to want to incorporate the whole, like, I should have gone in the litter box.
Yes.
You laugh, I'm gonna say that. I'm 100% gonna throw that out, and everyone's gonna be like, I don't get it. I'm gonna be like, You had to be there.
Go back and watch the tape.
Go back and watch it. Yeah. So that should be fun. I believe it starts at 8. So it should be a good time.
Okay. Cool. I don't have anything major coming up right now. Right now, it's just this show. It's summer is happening. So yeah, to Chris's point from before, like probably Armory Sketch will be coming back. I will hopefully be doing that, and we'll see what's going on. But yeah, I think that about does it for us. We'll be back next week. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. You were a wonderful guest. We love having you.
Thank you for having me. What fun.
Cool. And we will see you guys all next week. Thank you all in the chat, and thank you, for being part of the show. We'll see you later.